All right. Hi, this is Jeremy Valentine. I'm the co-OC and O-line coach at Chaminade Julienne High School in Dayton, Ohio. Today we're going to be talking about adapting your spread offense for short yardage packages. All right, a little bit more about me. I'm a Minnesotan. Notice I got the Vikings right there. But I grew up small town, actually playing 9-man football, which is a little bit different than there's just no guards, I guess. Currently, I'm been a teacher for 9 years. I'm currently a teacher at Chaminade Julienne. I teach social studies coaching for 14 years. The last 2 years before I moved to Ohio, I was a defense coordinator in Minnesota under Bob Schwartz, who I was very lucky to work under. The last 8 years I've been at Chaminade Julienne, 6 as offense coordinator, and Coach Maurice Harden joined me in 2016, and he's been the co-OC with me. I'd like to thank my wife, Sarah, and our lovely 2 kids for all the support that you guys give me. All right, so let's get into it. A little bit about Chaminade Julienne offense. We're kind of a blend of your Oklahoma spread, 11 personnel spread team, and North Dakota State University, because we will line up and we will come right at you, hit you in the mouth. Okay, we're a pro style team with the tight end, H-back. When we first started doing this was kind of not a lot of teams were doing it. Now I feel like more and more, most of the teams are in this model. When I first started back in 2012, we were a lead draw team. I was not the coordinator. I was actually a defense coach, and then I ran the offense on the junior varsity on Saturdays. I had no problem. We were in the eye most of the time. We did some other different types of things, but we had a very good quarterback coming back as a sophomore the next year, and me and the OC at the time. I actually was a long-term sub at his school, so we would get together 2-3 times a week after school, and we would draw it up. We kind of came up with an offense that I ended up taking over 2 years after, and made sure that we were able to kind of blend things together. Mo comes along 2 years after that, and we are kind of up to where we are today. All right, we're a gap scheme team. We love to run the ball. We want to run power. Power's our hang the hat play. We want to get downhill. We want to hit you in the mouth that way, and we want to run the ball. When people think spread offense, a lot of times they think of bubble screens and just straight inside zone. Well, no, we don't want to do those types of things. We want to line up and be physical with you as well. We are heavy RPO. Coach Mo has brought that with him, as well as a quick passing game, get rid of the ball. But like I said, this is the North Dakota State part of this is we will line up and we will hit you in the mouth that way. All right. So there's a few ways that we can make this simple. We can make this easy. We can make this effective. The biggest thing you want is when I talk about cost, when I say something is expensive or inexpensive, I'm talking about the amount of time that you want to put into this thing. So do you want to invest full amounts of time doing that? Probably not. All right. So there's a few things that we can do to keep this simple. Make sure the O-line has no new learning. We run all of our base stuff out of the eye. Another thing is if you are a spread team, 10 personnel team, you can still stay in the shotgun. You do not have to get under center. You do not have to necessarily get in the eye to have a large, heavy package. It probably look more like the single wing, a very old style of offense, but you can still be very effective in that. Make your tight ends your H-backs or your sniffers, some people call them, do what they normally would do. Do what they do, and if they are able to do that, you're going to be in good shape, and it'll be very, very inexpensive for you to do. Do not need a large package of plays. Honestly, we will run power until you stop it. And then once you figure out how to stop it, we'll find another way to run power. And then we'll go off of that. Window dressing, we will use a lot of trades, shifts, and motions, and I'll go through those all in detail here. Another thing, it's not hard to find a fullback. There are fullbacks walking around, and you don't know it. Every guard wants to be a fullback, so you got a backup guard. You don't need him for that. You can make him a fullback as well. And then the most of the learning is going to take it back. So I'm going to go through each one of these in detail. So why have a short yardage package? When I was in college, I played in Fergus Falls. I played a little bit of junior college back in Minnesota, and we led the league in two categories. We led the league in rushing yards and passing yards, and we were near the bottom in scoring. We would get down to the goal line, and we just wouldn't punch it in. We were great. We were great in between the 20s. We would get down there. That was something that really stuck with me, and I felt that was very important not to have in my offense. I want to be able to line up. I want to be able to hit you in the mouth. I want to be able to do those types of things. One other thing, when it's 3rd and 1, when it's 4th and 1, when you're in the gun, it's got to go back 4 or 5 yards. I like the ability to have quick hitters. We have used traps in the past. I haven't used them much later. Our wedge, our basic fullback dives, those have a place in football, and I love that we are able to use those out of these different short yardage package. I like that it gets everybody involved. You can get, like I said, that 3rd string guard who is really strong but maybe doesn't have the technique. Well, he can learn a few simple things and go up and hit everybody. So it gets him involved. And finally, the O-line really loves it. The O-line have come up and asked me, hey, can we just do a whole series in our heavy package? Can we just line up? I just want to do that. Can we just line up in heavy? The O-line loves it. And if you got the O-line behind you, you're probably going to be doing just fine. All right. So number 1, no new learning for the offense. Keep it simple, stupid, okay? Here's the plays we're going to be running. And these are all plays, for the most part, that we are going to run out of our normal regular package, our 11 personnel, our 10 personnel. We'll run all of these different types of things. So we are a A-gap power-based team, and we start there. Everything starts on power, and everything goes from power. And I'll go through these here after I talk through them. Our next play is wedge, and that is basically everybody takes their inside gap. We dive it. We want that 1 yard, that type of thing. As you're going to see, is we break off a couple long runs because we got an athletic fullback that can do it. But our goal in that is to get all those short yardage pickups. Then we run toss. And toss is going to be if you're piling in the box, you can just flip it out there and make things happen. Let your tailback be athletic in space, much like most spread teams do, and you can score a counter. We don't run a ton of counter. We have practiced it more than we've run it in games, so I don't have a ton of game film on it. But counter is obviously a good thing, and then you can run the counter pass off it as well. Quick game, we practiced more quick game out of our pro and heavy personnel than we actually ran in games. I honestly couldn't find any film on it. I know we did in the scrimmage, but for whatever reason, I had to delete that. Thank you, Huddle. But we can. We'll split our big tight end out there and go, but it's mostly a lot of slants, fades, and then back shoulder fades. Power pass, which is going to be a front side pass, and then you got your naked, which is going to be a naked boot where you don't, if that backside end is crashing really hard and you boot outside naked. It's not a play I run a ton, but when I do run it, we want touchdowns. We want big plays on it. Then other things like RPOs. I've run plenty of RPOs out of it, and then as well as our power read game out of this. And you run those from unbalanced when you're down there, and it makes it very, very difficult to defend. So no new learning for the offense. If you have your offensive line that don't have to think very much and can just do what they've been trained to do over and over again, you're going to be very, very successful up front. All right. So you can adapt this to, we prefer, so this would be our heavy personnel. You got your tight end, your H-back, And these two guys are interchangeable. This is pretty much what they do in our offense anyway. So again, like I said, with number one, there's really no new learning with it. The fullback is going to be different, and the tailback and the quarterback are going to have different steps. However, if you want to try and keep those things the same, you can just put a fullback right here. So what we would do is, if we wanted to run these types of formations, we would put the fullback to the sniffer side, and we could run that way. Again, inexpensive to learn, inexpensive to do. You're just packing things into the box. If teams want to run a bear front against you, you can now match them number for number, and you're not leaving people on block. You can run a little bit more option out of this if you are a spread team that does that. If you're running the inside zone read, any of those types of things, those can be easily run out of this formation. Also, what it's going to do is going to make the quarterback a more viable run threat in this look. All right. Make the tight ends and H-backs do exactly what they do. So here are my two examples of us running power. So on top here, we've got our A-gap power, and you see our tight end, he's going to be doing a banana block, okay, pressing with that inside foot, getting that inside hand, shifting, driving that guy outside. Oops. And you look here, we are under center here. This would be our right heavy or our right king formation. He's doing the exact same thing. Now, if he was at tight end, it might be a little bit different, but what we try and do a lot with the tight end is we just base block on most of our plays. Try and keep it simple for him. If we're running, obviously we're throwing off of it, it's a little bit different, but we want to basically base block and do it in that direction. All right. So like I said, we're going to line up now, this actually put the game away here. If we're going to line up, we're going to run this early, and we're going to run it often, because you may stop it early, but late in the game, we start to wear on teams. So you got power here, which is A gap. You see it splits right up the middle. Our end zone camera was not working this week. So I don't have an end zone shot for you, but he hits this. All right. We got a kid here who's a D lineman playing fullback for us. Drives right up in there. Got another D lineman right here at the other tight end position. We're gonna base with the tight end, kick out the 5. We're gonna hit that son of a gun right up the middle. All right, same game. This is much earlier in the game. We're gonna hit backside with the A gap power. Okay, our A gap power wants to hit. Our A gap power wants to hit front side A to back side A. Okay, so another fun run for us here. Getting very physical. They're getting downhill. We're able to make a good play right there. All right, so that was to the strong side. Teams will often do this against this front or this set, is they will play guys over heavy. While they do that, you still have your fullback in there. He can kick out that defensive end. We get great movement with the tackle here. The right tackle does a great job. Kicks that guy out. We wrap around, have a nice 8-yard run. We score on the next couple plays. All right, so like I said, this is from a few years earlier. What you're going to see here is, so instead of having the tight end here, or the fullback here as the slot, we have a tight end. We got a great kick out. Puller becomes the bonus guy. The fullback picks up the extra guy, and you got it here. Here's a good look at it from the end zone. The tight end or the tackle does a great job of skate stab climbing. We're able to punch it into the end zone. All right, finishing drives. Running back is really physical at the end. This is from 2016, I believe. Okay. I don't think, like I said, it's easy to teach these kids. This kid learned this position in 1 week. Easy finish to a drive. This is a little bit later in the game, but we're starting to put things away and we're able to get after it. Here we are again. I think it's a little earlier in the game, but it's the same idea right there. Same year. So we put the other fullback or the other tailback here in at fullback. Again, we're going to stop. You're going to have to stop power. We're going to keep running it at you. All right, next play is wedge. Sometimes you want to get with wedge, your goal is to get the first down. Okay? Now, this is late in the game, and it's raining, so we are trying to hold the ball and run the clock out. But because of that, a little wet, but we get a little bit of a late handoff, and lucky for us, we're able to break a big run on it. Okay, this was earlier in that same game. We run wedge. Our left, they try and spike their guy inside, and we end up scoring on them. Same kid. All right, yeah, we want to get a yard, but we'll take whatever they're going to be given to us. Again, like I said, wedge, everything nice and inside. We have played games where this guy ends up sealing backside. We just kind of drive through here. And because this defensive or this outside linebacker gets upfield too much, we're able to pop it outside. We end up getting 18 yards on it. Darn near score. All right, so here again, here's our pro look. I'd like our tight end here to stick his nose in there and cut this kid off. But again, and it's a simple play. It's easy. It's very inexpensive. Everybody dive inside hard, all right? That's an old single wing play. Just wedging everything in. So if they really pack it in the box, we'll run toss. We don't execute this perfectly, but we're able to get inside and score. So we will trade and shift those types of things, but when teams pack it in and we can get leverage on them, we will definitely try and do that. For whatever reason, my center in this game decided he was not going to block the play side A gap. He did this a couple times. Now, because we trade here, we do gain leverage on this guy, and I'll talk a little bit about that coming up. May have gotten away with a false start, but all right, another big run there. King, okay, toss again. Good run. Right, tight end reaches just like he normally would on toss if we were under in the gun. We get on run here. Just a man pull scheme. Reach. If you're uncovered, pull. Tight end going to come out, get first most dangerous guy. All right. Here's a little bit of counter. We do a little window dressing. So what tends to happen, especially if you run power as much as we do, is the sniffer here and the fullback end up being the keys, and linebackers start watching them, and we'll get that coming, and you can really see it on this play. Watch the linebackers. Watch this kid and this kid. Yep, they don't know where the ball is. So also we were on power pass out of this. So these sniffers, these guys get lost. I'd like him to reverse pivot on this, but maybe change that up since then. There we go. So the guard pulls as a personal protector, gets flat, pops out. Supposed to get there. We should have got a post hinge on the back side. Tight end, or the guard does a great job on this play. Wham! We're able to use our very athletic quarterback here and score. This is a big play in this game. Late in the third quarter, close ball game, puts us ahead. Love that physicality for there. 2 years ago, right? That guy, that sniffer is open quite a bit because guys start dipping inside. They start losing where the ball is going, and they will lose it in that direction. 2017, alter, go. Yep. Okay, when you run power as your base, team's going to want to stop that. All right, they start getting their eyes in the backfield and will commit to stopping it because we're going to be committed to running it, that type of thing. This is something we added 2 years ago. This is naked. So if you are a split zone, split flow team, this would be something how you would run your inside zone pass, that type of thing. So it's a naked boot. What we will do is I tell the tackles, block inside, and we pull the front side guard, make it look a little bit like power, and we will throw it off of that. You can see these two guys, these two backers, they're coming down. They don't see this kid slip out, and you have a touchdown. You can also run off of it. Quarterback run off of this is pretty good. Little bobbled snap, not a great fake, but it does get the job done. This is probably one of my favorite ones. Okay, this was against a team, and this was the very last time we played at their stadium without lights. They would play on Saturday at 1:00, and it was very tough to win there on Saturday at 1:00. Well, this play put the game away. So up in the booth, I had seen that their backside guy had really been chasing a lot. So I knew when it came to a short yardage situation that this play would be definitely needed. So we fake power. See this kid. He bites on it. We sneak out. And we run it across. That's one of my favorite nakeds that we've ever ran. We don't score. We don't win this game. We don't play in the playoffs that year, and we ended up losing the eventual state champs in the here's playoff game. Same year, same play. Okay, kid bites inside. He could have thrown it, and he didn't. We get in. This is a big thing because we're stopping power. You watch everybody's going to overcommit to it. If that kid bites inside at all, he's not going to make that play. And you got others. So, like I said, you can run your power read stuff off of this. You can run some unbalanced stuff. So we were backed up. They punted one down to about the 40-yard line. It was 3rd and 6. I was like, all right, let's see if we can't pop something out with the quarterback here. We bump him onto the line. We bump him off of the line. We got pretty fast wide receivers. Teams start flowing with them. Okay? They overcommit. I'm not going to make you watch all of that, but I do promise you he scores. Because a lot of times with your heavy personnel, teams are going to run more man coverage, and you're going to be able to take advantage of that. This kid gets upfield a little bit too much. We get a great block, and we're off to the races. Again, if you want to be in the gun, you can also run RPOs out of it. So we will just basically, this looks just like power or ISO. Okay, we didn't score on it, but same idea. Okay, so this is just our O play, which is an RPO. I think the center pulls. Nope. We're reading this extra guy. We just throw the slant off of him. He steps down inside. We almost score on it. We score on the next play. All right. Got 2 more examples of you for the RPO game. And you can tell it's an RPO. It's actually 2nd down. It's not 3rd down. But watch these linebackers on RPO. This is not exactly a short yardage situation, but it's the same idea where you're trying to get those chunks of yardage with a heavier personnel crew. All right, 1st and 10. We wanted to come out in some of our heavier stuff. This basically ends up being power. But we are throwing off of it. We get right up in the A gap. I love it. Okay, like I said, you don't need to be under center, but we do prefer it. Obviously, if we have a great running quarterback, there's no point in being under center unless they're really overcommitting to it. But it makes a quick and easier way to learn this. Again, you're going to have your H-backs. Your tight ends are going to be doing the same types of things. Making it inexpensive is a big deal for it. So my tight end here is going to be kicking out that defensive end. Well, he comes down here. We're under center. The fullback is basically an ISO back, that extra guy. He's got that extra linebacker coming across. We're going to be kicking out with the tight end as well. All right, shifts, trades, window dressing. This is something that I really love. I love North Dakota State. I like Stanford. I'm a big fan of – I don't like Wisconsin, but I like what they do offensively with their shifts and their motions and their trades and those types of things. So, like I said, we will run power until you stop it. If you don't stop power, guess what's coming? Here it comes. I'll go, how many powers do I need to call before I get in the end zone? And that will happen. We will window dress, though. If you are running base plays, you're going to have to front end load on the trades, the shifts, and the motions. So that's just part of it. We don't run a ton of plays out of it. So what you do is you just window dress a little bit. So why do we window dress? Number one, we want to outflank people. As you saw back with that toss play, because we shifted to it, we were able to get leverage on the defensive end, get an easy reach block. It's almost a down block, and we're outside on toss, right? If he wants to be moving, that type of thing, well, now we can run power. Now we can just base block with you. So those shifts, if we need to trade or do those types of things, we will to gain that leverage on the defense. One thing I look for when I'm watching film is, okay, does their defensive end shift sides? This was something I learned actually as a defensive coordinator, because we had I had a box end. I was a 4-4 guy, and I had a box end who he was a wrestler, but he only weighed about 160 pounds. So I would put him in a 2-point stance. You put him with his hand on the ground, he's not very good. But if you let him be up in with his hands, he wasn't a bad little box end. Well, what I found out was teams would trade and shift, and we wouldn't have enough time to flip, and it cause all different types of problems, especially against wing T teams that would do this, and they would line up right at him and come downhill on him. So I figured out, well, if it worked against me, let's try it when I became a coordinator and offense coordinator. So I would do the same thing. If you have a smaller defensive end, if you have a guy that you think you like playing weak, well, let's shift the front. If you're running around, I like that, honestly. That leads to the next point, because it's going to make you think. And I want you guys thinking. I want the defense thinking. I want them moving around. And they do that, I know we are going to be in a much better place to score on you and finish a drive or get a first down. So here's a look at some of our trades and motions. So you can see we're lined up. Left heavy, we'll shift over. Okay, I like that. They're having to move. They're having to shift. They're having to think. That is what I want. You see them pointing. Obviously, they practice this because we put it on film. But you see them pointing. Okay, and here we come. Bam, right up in the A gap. And we get a great movement on this. And this is how you finish a drive. Same game, might be the very next play, honestly. Okay, we trade. I think it's the same play. We trade. Okay, they're talking, they're moving. Here we come. Wham. Able to get in the end zone. Another look at it. Make them shift, make them move. It really doesn't affect our guys that much. Guard does a good job here. We're able to finish that drive coming downhill very hard. All right, this is against a team that made it to the regional finals this year. Good football team. We trade, we shift, making them move. They become very weak backside. Their backside outside linebacker gets upfield. We're able to punch it out backside and score with it. Here we go, trade again. And again, like I said, we want to run power. So we're going to trade and shift. And this is very inexpensive. This does not take a ton of time to learn, does not take a ton of time to practice. We don't have to run this 10 times a practice. This is something we can run once or twice a practice, and I can do a walkthrough while we're doing kickoff or something, and we can get it in 5 minutes. It's just a really pretty play here on their 3-tech. Ooh, nice movement. All right. I think he almost forgot to shift here. Trade. You can see here we're going to gain leverage. I talked a little bit about this earlier. Just because of our trade, we gain leverage. Might have held there, but we have a big play on it. So we do enough trading. We do a trading. We get them moving around. They're shifting. Okay, you see these guys, that's what I want. Well, now I'm up in the booth. I go, okay, I'm not a mathematician, but there's way more guys on this side than there are on this side. So then we're just going to run a weak. Now, if our fullback goes inside here, we probably score or close. We're running on this kid for sure. All right, I showed this one earlier, but now we've traded, and then we flopped. Well, now let's run counter off of it. So it's just a progression of plays. And this is, again, like I said, this is all stuff that the offensive line knows and they do already. So there really is no new learning for them. And that's going to be my biggest thing. Some spread teams, when I talk to spread coaches, I will say, well, we don't have a fullback. We don't train a fullback. If you know who this guy is, that's Darian Howard. And if he's your fullback, you're probably doing pretty well. But usually you can make a fullback pretty easily. You talk to any guard, you talk to any lineman, if you got a third string guard that isn't playing for you, guess what? You can train them to be a fullback. They're all going to ask you if you can give them the ball. You don't have to give them the ball. I would recommend not giving your third string guard the ball, but they are a good thing. Sometimes you got the kid that's great in the weight room. When you're looking for a fullback, you probably want the kid that's blowing boogers and spitting on the weight room floor. They're just real tough kids. And you can make them because you only have to teach them to do a few things. All right. For us, you need to teach them power. And they go to the tight end most of the time. You teach them that and you get those physical things. Again, it's not expensive to teach these kids how to be a fullback. Well, this is actually 6, not 5. On the front end, this thing is going to be pretty simple for everybody. I will be honest, it is a little bit more complicated for the quarterback and the running backs. At Chaminade Julienne, we've been pretty lucky where most of our running backs and our quarterbacks have never really played much defense. So when we have defensive time, we can work these types of things. I can say, let's get under center. Let's work some of our footwork. Let's work some of that type of thing. And we can make it work that way. All right. So again, not a lot of learning for the offensive line. It's pretty simple. We can run all the same schemes that we run from the gun under center. And it's no new learning. And again, if your old linemen are not learning anything new, you're going to be okay. You're going to be in a good situation. You can not go under center. You can adapt this to just be in the eye. I know some teams, in the gun. I know some teams, the only time they go under center is to do a quarterback sneak. I've seen that before. Teams don't seem to always pick up on it, but it is something that they definitely do. Make your tight ends, your H-backs do the same thing that they normally would. And if you do that, you really only have to train a new fullback, and fullbacks are not hard to come by. You don't need a large package of plays. Run what you do and just adapt it for the eye. You can run just about every. It's going to be, well, some teams run RPOs. I've never done it, but you can run just about everything that you do in the gun out of the eye. Also, you can add that window dressing, and that is also just inexpensive to add. It's not going to take a ton of time. It's not going to be very difficult. Only a few kids need to know about it. The other kids don't even need to know that, okay, we're trading here, we're shifting here, we're doing these types of motions here. It's not that difficult. But it will take will be a little bit more learning with your quarterback and tight end. So you get to those short yardage situations, don't panic. Can't necessarily run your bubble screen or your inside zone out of 10 personnel. You can now have an easy way to adapt and bring in some bigger bodies to finish those drives and make things back. So thank you guys. Again, I'm Jeremy Valentine. If you want to email me, it's jvalentine@cjeagles.org. That's Jeremy Valentine @cjeagles.org. If you want to see some of this stuff or want me to send something to you, please contact me as well. So again, thank you for listening, and you guys have a great rest of your day.